it's Christina from Card Making Magic. This is the image that we're going to colour in today, and this is Girl on a Pot and The Boy on a Pot, and they're both available from Mo's Digital Pencil. But what I'd like to do is deal with darker skin tones in this video. Now, to print these off, I've just used a super smooth 160 GSM paper, and I have printed them off 10 by 15 centimeters for the image, and I've used the shrink to fit button on my printer settings. I've done 2 to a page, and I've printed them off in draft, and that will give you a size that will cut into 2 for you to cut out the shape using spellbinders if you have them, or just a cut around the image and add it to your card like this one's been done. Now, in the video Spectrum Noir Pale Skins, we created babies with peaches and cream complexions, but in this one we're going to change those images to babies with darker skins. Now, to start with the skin, we're going to use from the Skin Tone set TN2 and EB2, and then from the 6-pen set of the browns we're going to use TN7, and those 3 colours will give you the blend for this baby. So before I start to colour the image, I'm just going to lay down onto some kind of a palette. This is a glass mat, but you could use a white tile or one of the heat resistant mats, and just scribble some of the colour down. Now, that will dry, but you're going to pick that up with your pen. So with the TN2, we're just going to lay down the base colour. So I'm just going to pick some of this up on my paler pen, and I'm going into the areas that would have the shadow. And because he's got curly hair, I'm not going in a straight line. I'm just adding it in swirls. So he'd have shadow in his ears, he'd have shadow around his hairline and where his hand is. So I'm only doing the face to start with, and just keep picking up little bits of colour. He would have shadow under his chin and along the other side of his hand. So that's just picked up some of the darker colour onto the nib, and you're just going to add it in where you need it. Now, to get rid of the colour that's on the nib, all you need to do is use the same kind of paper that your image is printed onto and just scribble it out, and that will get rid of the darker colour. And then we're coming back into this just to blend it in, and I'm not using thick strokes, I'm just brushing it in, just kind of stroking the colour in. And I'm not going over the colour that I've just laid down, I'm just going up to it. Now, just to make sure that these black bits don't smudge, I'm just going over them with my pen, just dotting over them with the pen. And then I'm just going to carry on blending them in. And that will take us all over the face. And don't worry about it being blotchy at the moment, because we haven't finished yet, and the alcohol will need to evaporate off the actual drawing. Just to put some colour or some shading into the image, I'm just going into the shaded bits with the EB2, and I'm just going around the edge of the face and the fingers, just adding in the shade. And then I'm going to blend that back in with TN2 dipped in the EB7 TN7, sorry, and go over it again. So with the TN2 dipped into the TN7, I've just gone over the shaded bits again, and I've added a little bit more to where his cheeks would be, and then get rid of the darker colour, and then if you want to, with the chisel end, you can go over the whole lot and blend it in. So it's just going to go over it all with the lighter colour and blend it in. And once that alcohol has evaporated, that will dry nice and smooth. Now with the TN2 dipped in the TN7, I'm going to put the shadow in around the arms. So it would be under his shirt and in the crease of his elbow and along the bottom of his arm, and under the little bit where his arm is folded over, and just a little bit in those fingers. And I'm going to do the other arm the same. So under the shirt, in the crease of the elbow and along the bottom of his arm. So now I've scribbled off the extra colour on the paper, and I'm just going to blend all that in. And I'm just using long strokes to blend all those two colours together. And I'm going to do the same on the other arm. Now once you've done the arms, you're going to work on the legs. And if you look at the child is sat on the potty, so the back of the leg is going to be darker. So again, TN2 just dipped in the TN7, and we're just going to bring in the shadows that would be on the child. So that would be around the back of him, where he's sat on the potty, in the folds in his legs, and down the back of the leg across the socks. And once you've done that and you've got rid of the excess colour, with your TN2 you're just going to blend all that in. Now I'm going to go back into the arms and the legs and blend that colour in again, and then I will add some of the shadow in with EB2. And going in again will just get rid of the blotchiness in the skin. Now because his knees would be in the light, I'm not colouring those in again. I'm just going to leave those. And then with the EB2, I'm just going to add in, just accentuate the shadow just a little bit more. So that would be around his back, under his arm, down the side of his leg, under his knees. And I'm not going in with a solid line, I'm just flicking the colour in under his shirt, down his arm, and then under the crease in his hand. So once you're happy with the shading on the skin, we can go on and do the hair. This baby's hair is just straight, and that was covered in Spectrum Noir hair, so it's done exactly the same, but this one has curly hair. So this is a different technique, and I'll show you how to do this using the grey pens. Now to get the best blend when you're using pens, you need 3 colours really. So I'm going to use a dark one, which is BG10. I'm going to use the medium one, which is BG8, and I'm going to use a paler one, which is BG6. So I'm going to start with the lightest one first, which is BG6, And if you look, the hairline looks a bit messy at the moment, but once you get the hair in, all that will blend in. So because this is curly hair, all I'm doing is putting squiggles down, if you will, like S's. And I'm going to do that all over the hair. Now when you're going over the hair, you're going to leave some gaps in it, and because this looks a bit dark, I'm going to introduce a paler colour, BG2. But I'll just finish off this little bit first. And then with the BG2, I'm going to go over the S's again, right to the top of the head. So as you get towards the top of the head, you're using paler colours, because that's where the light would be in the hair, and you're leaving gaps as you go along, and I'm using really 4 colours: BG2, BG4, BG6 and BG10. It's given me a better blend than the original ones I picked. So we're just going all over it. Now if you wanted to accentuate the strands in the straight hair or the curls in the curly hair, you just need to take a fine liner and go back into your image, and again with small S shapes you're just going to add in those curls. Now to bring his face to life, take your white gel pen and just very lightly add the white dot to his cheeks. So the darkest colour goes into his socks, where it would be in shade or in the darkest areas, and I've done the same to both socks. I'm just going to blend them out with the palest colour. Now to colour the potty, I'm just going to a pale grey, so I'm going to use BG2, and I'm just going to put some shade under the edge of the potty where it curls over and where he's sat on it, so where his legs would create a shadow. We'll add in some grey, and then where his feet are on the floor also needs some grounding. So I'm just going to go around his socks with the grey and up to where the book is, and just add in some shadow. If you want to soften the edge of this shadow, take your blender pen and just run it along the edge. Use your chisel end, and that will just soften out the edge of that. Once the alcohol dries off, that will be very clear. You can also do the same with your fine end to the shadows in the potty. Now with the grey, I've just added a little bit of shading to the book, and I've coloured the truck in red, and then with pale pink one, PP1, I'm just going to outline the baby, and this will really make him stand out from the page. So I'm just going all around the outside edge, and wherever you've gone outside the lines, if you can just see there, you don't need the blender pen. The colour from this will just take out that colour, and just work your way all around the baby. So there's the baby grounded and shadowed, and he's now ready to add to a dye.